Good evening. Welcome to the meeting of the Sandwich Historic District Committee on this November 25th evening. My name is Peter Williams, and I'm the chair of this committee. Reviewing the application this evening, the committee will consider, among other things, the historical value and significance of the building, the general design, arrangement, texture, material, and color of the features, and the relation of such features to buildings and structures in the immediate surrounding. This meeting is being streamed on SCTV website and on local channel 9. It is being recorded and will be available on SCTV website starting tomorrow. The name of the committee is the Sandwich Historic District Committee. That can be considered a misnomer. Our primary mission is the protection of historic structures, but we also serve as an architectural review board in the historic district. So if your home is not historic, you are here as part of our architectural review board function. Also, while we may move swiftly through the calendar, please be assured that we've reviewed all the applications carefully. Applications will be heard in the order on the published agenda, followed by continued applications. Anyone aggrieved by a decision of this committee may, within 10 calendar days, appeal the decision to the Regional Commission by obtaining from the Planning Board a form from the Planning Board in the new Town Hall. On my right, we have Miriam from the Planning Board, who is going to record the meeting for us. The members are Rich Alger,
Here.
Mike Sullivan,
Diane DeLeo here.
Ren Ritter.
and I'm Peter Williams. And would you make a motion, sir?
Sure.
Second on Mike? Okay. I guess we will take the first item. Borrow that for a second. First item is 24-188, Mark and Mary Shea, a new fence at 22 Odd Avenue. Would you please step up here, sit to the right, and tell us about your project? Yeah, thank you. I have one with
Good evening.
So good evening. My name is Mark Shea. I live at 22 Knott Ave, Sandwich. The proposal that I have in front of you is to put a 7-foot white vinyl fence in the back of my property, about 71 feet either side. The reason for that, many of you know the lots are really small there. We have a double lot. To have privacy. In the back, we have some trees which we're going to be taking down. Overgrown and the wind is damaging the fences. The back of the yard slopes down a bit. That's why we're looking to get a higher fence, almost 6-foot fence, to gain the privacy.
Thank you.
Talk to our close abutters. We're all project.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Have none?
I didn't have any.
No.
Any questions from the public? Comments?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-188 as presented. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome. Next item, Brian Humphreys, 24-189, changes the original rebuild at 45 Wood Avenue.
Oh, really? Hi.
Aye.
Nice to see you all again. Brian Humphreys. We had bought the parcel of land at 45 Wood Ave. We were in a few months ago, probably 3 or 4 months ago now, and we had got the approval for the house, and upon some further consideration, we decided we wanted to add a front porch to the house. I also, another small change is kind of above that veranda area in the back of the house, there's that paneling there. That got put there because after working with the site engineer, we determined that there was going to need to be somewhat of a slope going into the backyard. So that was just a kind of taller span there, and so the architect put the paneling in to fill that area and just kind of break up the siding a little bit. So I think those are the two. Those,
That's great looking house.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful.
Looks great.
so I think those are really those are the changes there, and yeah, hoping you guys are still okay with it.
So all this is going to fit on that lot?
We're gonna
Yeah.
figure it out
Yeah?
one way or
Oh,
another.
yeah.
It's a 10,000 square foot lot, so
Yeah.
there should be plenty of room. Everything's within setbacks.
Well,
Also,
well,
the lot coverage. So,
no, it looks great.
Any comments or questions from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-189 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh,
You too.
Hopefully this is the last time.
oh, okay. Well, good luck with it.
Next item, 24-190, Malcolm Davies, replacing windows at 8 Fonts Mountain Road.
Good evening.
My name's Kevin Damaris. I work with Renewal by Anderson, and we're the company that's going to be proceeding with the work. We are going to be doing the Acclaim Series window. You can see all the windows that are numbered on there. Everything is going to be matching. We will be putting grids in the product as well, just to keep the look of the town correct. About it.
They're, what were they, 6/6?
Yes. The one window that does not have grids is that single casement window. It is on the back of the house, just to allow a little bit more breathability in the home, but it will, it is not visible from any street.
Any other questions?
Have none.
Comments or questions from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-190 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You.
24-191, Dave Brower, addition and new porch, 41 Discovery Hill Road.
I am Dave Brower, on 41 Discovery Hill Road.
Good evening.
Good evening, yeah.
Evening.
You may sit if it's more comfortable.
Fine.
Okay.
Tell us about your project.
We're adding a small primary bedroom addition, bathroom, laundry room, bedroom.
A nice improvement. Be nice.
Mm.
Yeah.
Any comments or questions?
I just would like to see what it will look like from the street elevation.
Buy it.
Went by it. I think.
Yeah.
You back it up, yeah. There you go.
And the
Backyard,
Not in
Yeah.
the photographs.
yes, just sorry, the
plan.
plan, please.
The
Yes.
first one
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay.
on the left.
The front elevation. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Very nice.
Any comments or questions from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-191 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Welcome. Next item, 24-192, 192, Matthew Blake, replacing windows, 1016A.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Philomena with Color Windows and Doors representing.
Huh?
Nobody's using the mic.
Speaking loud.
Yeah.
I found this confusing. Are you is it going to, the front going to look like it does now? I mean, with two
Very
new
similar,
windows?
very similar. So we're putting a 4 set of sliding windows, and they'll be black fiberglass.
On each side?
Correct. Yep, so the 4 ends will open, and if you wanted to get some air in there, when you look at it all together, they will be fiberglass.
Well, how high is that unit?
How high are they?
Yeah,
So they'll take up the same width and height, so we're not changing the structure.
Same opening.
Yes, correct. So same opening.
well, I find the dimensions confusing, but,
Or, yeah, a little bit, right? But they'll take up the exact space of the windows that are there now.
okay.
Yes.
Any other questions?
No.
Comments or questions from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-192 as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. Next item, 24-193D, demolition at 169 Main Street.
Good evening, Thomas Moore from Thomas Moore Design Company, representing Martha Mulcahy.
Thank you. Would you pull the mic a little closer, please? Appreciate it.
And this project involves the garage, at least the demolition part of the garage. The house itself is an 1855 house. I don't believe the garage was built at the same time. I think that was probably because of its construction of it, and look of it, more of a 1950s, 60s
much
garage,
later,
maybe.
yeah.
I don't know the exact date.
I'm sorry, you think the garage was constructed around 1960?
I'm guessing, I'm not sure to be positive, but it didn't seem like it was
I think it
the
looks,
same type of construction.
How good at you at guessing?
Pardon me?
How good at you at guessing?
No, could be off
Well,
a
it's
little bit, who knows?
clearly a lot more recent than the original house.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I don't think there's any historical significance to it.
No.
I have no questions.
any comments or questions from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-193D as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here for the next one also.
Oh, okay.
You both.
Yes, of course, the rebuild. 24-194 rebuild at 169 Main Street.
Again, Thomas Moore Design Company, representing Martha Mulcahy, and we're looking to build a carriage house, complement the house itself, using the same materials as the house, same kind of details of the house, same roof pitches as the house. Slightly different footprint as compared to what the existing garage is, but we're moving it away from the property line slightly, but be happy to answer any questions you might have.
So will the height of the garage, not including the cupola, be less than the main house?
Yes.
All right.
By
And
at least a
It,
foot or two.
there's no carriage house doors as such, right? It's not going to be used as a garage.
It's not going to be used as a garage. It's going to be used as an accessory dwelling.
ADU?
Yep.
That's similar to the garage that was built across the street, isn't it?
Pardon me?
Isn't that similar to the garage that was built across the street,
Yes.
separated from that little cape?
Yep.
Looks very nice.
Any comments?
I have none.
No, no,
Questions or comments from the public?
looks nice.
I'll make a motion to approve 24-194RB as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Good night.
24-195 retaining wall at 5 Water Street.
James with Masonry Plus, and I'm representing Runa. We're going to be doing the 2 retaining walls for her.
Why do they want a retaining wall?
If you look at the back up
Yeah.
right there, she wants to retain the lawn. We want to build like a 36-inch high retaining wall in the front to retain the lawn,
How far back will the wall be?
2 feet from the sidewalk.
What about the hydrangeas and the other vegetation that's there?
We would dig those up, pick them up, set them aside, and then once the wall is done, she's going to replant it.
They'll be in front of the wall, so there'll be vegetation in front of the wall again?
Yes, there is.
In 2 feet?
What's that?
In only 2 feet of
Yeah, she's going to just plant some like perennials or something in the front.
oh, so not replacing the existing mature plantings that are there now?
Right, she's going to reuse those for behind the wall, and then she'll put something low-growing in front of the wall along the sidewalk.
The wall returns on the driveway. How far back does the stone wall go?
So she also wants to put a wall up the side of the driveway.
Different materials, though.
What's that?
Different material.
Yes, we're going to use
Now,
Allen.
is this real stone or is it a veneer?
It's veneer. We would block it, or a 4-foot concrete footing, block it, and then veneer it.
And the house was built in 1855.
Okay?
No, sorry, 1865. It's the Victorian house in a very prominent position on Water Street. I'm not sure that a veneered wall, and the side wall particularly, which looks like it, is that concrete block? Or is it
It's a
stone?
precast concrete block.
So
I'm
gonna
not
use
sure
like
that
a-
those are in keeping with the
she, along,
ancient
yeah,
style
so
of the house.
that's the type of block, this picture here, that's the type of the block that she wants along the driveway going up.
Well, how far up does that go, and where does it start? Does it start right at the corner?
It starts at the corner, yes, and then goes all the way up, it steps down, goes all the way up around the backside of the house.
That's quite visible from the street.
Yes, I went to look at it today. And also, this photograph is quite deceiving in that the lawn does drop off very precipitously at the front there, and I can understand why they would want some kind of retainer
Right, exactly.
to stop the to make the lawn easier to maintain, for one thing, and also to stop any erosion. However, if those plantings are not put back as they are, the wall will be mostly exposed, or
Correct.
3 feet of it, on an historic Victorian home in the heart of the village.
Now, I'm thinking that I have an appropriateness problem with the
Materials,
non-use of authentic materials.
yes, that's how I feel as well.
Couldn't the fieldstone be used where you cut that out and then you put that, I don't know, kind of plastic paper or whatever it is that they put first and then the fieldstone to stop anything from coming through the fieldstone?
Yeah, so behind the wall, if we do the block and veneer, we backfill it with crushed stone and fabric, then we
And the
put,
fabric, yeah.
yeah, we put fabric, crushed stone, and then we put weep holes through the wall so that the water will,
Yeah. I'm just not a fan of the veneer
Yes, and it
right
doesn't,
there,
it
and
doesn't
then,
have
there's-
the
then, not, I know it's not cinder block, but that precast block right from the corner up, I'm not
Right.
I'm not a fan of that right there with just low plantings. That veneer is right there, and then the block starts at the corner, two different things. I'd rather see, my opinion, this is just an opinion, a field stone or something of a natural thing, all the same, and then going up.
So, the veneer,
I think it would be best if it had matching materials, and I agree that a veneer is not ideal for a historic home.
okay, so the veneer that she wants to use is like the Connecticut round, it's more, it looks more natural than like the flat.
This is a very nice version of it, however.
It doesn't look that natural, and the fact is, the plantings, while they might help it in the beginning, there's nothing to say that they have to stay there. So we would be arguably looking at the veneer, which does not seem appropriate for the location.
Yeah. I walked to this property today and I looked to see other styles of retaining walls in the village, and that round stone is quite prevalent, thank you. There aren't a lot of retaining walls,
So,
but this will not have that depth.
yeah, no, I understand.
It will
what
be very shallow and it will look like a veneer.
So, next to her is a retaining wall. It's that old reclaimed granite.
Yes.
Would that be acceptable, something like?
Well, that's a much older home. That's built in the 1600s, I think, and those are big granite slabs which are be outrageously expensive. But I would think a field stone, just using natural field stones,
I like,
would certainly be more expensive than they're proposing, but at least would look a little more appropriate.
Okay. So
I
if,
think the feeling of the committee is that the precast blocks on the driveway are not acceptable.
okay,
That the retaining wall in the front should be natural field stone,
uh-huh,
or something of the equivalent. And the wall should be at least 3 feet back from the siding.
that's fine. Yep.
So if
Okay.
you would like to have us continue this,
Yes.
Can you do that by December 9th? It's our next meeting.
Next week, sure.
All right.
It'll be 2 weeks from,
2 weeks, the 9th.
We'd have to get his documents.
right.
Yeah, I could make that work.
can make that work.
You may
Give
have,
us time
Yeah,
to reconvene with her and.
sure. And a deeper frontage would give more room for replacing the existing plantings as well.
Right.
Which are lovely.
Yeah, which are lovely, yes.
Okay.
and you may have to deal with Merriam to waive the 45-day rule, if you're familiar with it.
Okay.
We're supposed to act within 45 days, but we put things over that we don't get it done, so you have to waive it,
Okay.
please.
All right.
Shit.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to continue 24-195 to the December 9th meeting.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, 24-196, new sign at 415 Route 6A.
My name is Jim Steffels. Good evening. And we're looking to replace the panel of the sign. The old one is falling apart.
Merriam, can I see the rendering of the sign?
Keep going.
Because I had trouble with that. That's it? That's it.
That's it right there.
Those colors?
Yes, blue and white.
Mm.
I'm
Any
okay.
comments from the committee?
No, I'm okay with the blue and white.
Yep.
It's going to be hung up from the posts that are there already?
That panel that you see there is going to be removed, and it's going to be replaced with.
The one that's there looks nicer than the one you're replacing it with, so be it.
Any comments from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-196 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Next item, 24-198, new build at 21 Manor Drive.
197, right?
197.
Oh. And another new sign, I apologize. 24-197.
Good evening, Matt Arguin with SCKD Properties and South Coast Kitchen Designs to replace, actually add a sign to the existing post. That's the existing post that's there. We are just proposing to add our sign to that post.
That's the rendering?
Correct.
Comments, questions?
I have no comment.
Questions from the
Some other
public?
ones nearby.
Make a motion to approve 24-197 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next motion, 24-198, new build at 21 Manor Drive.
Good evening, my name is Brian Miller. I'm representing LDS Development Group. We're going to be building a new single-family home at 21 Manor Drive. It's going to be a 3,000 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, single-family home on an existing lot, in an existing subdivision. We're going to use natural shingles, white trim, white windows to kind of keep up with the look of the neighborhood.
Looks nice. Yeah.
Nice, very nice home.
Questions from the committee?
Nope.
No.
Questions or comments from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-198 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, you too.
24-199, new shingles, trim and deck at 61 Common Avenue.
Evening.
Good
Evening.
evening.
I'm looking to remove and replace all the cedar shingles at 61 Carmen Ave
Okay.
with dipped Maybach shingles, AZEK trim, composite. There's 2 small decks, and they've been there since the 60s, and they're pressure treated, so they're overdid.
They're ready, yeah.
I'll bring them up to code and replace it with composite decking, and that's the total scope of work.
So the new shingles are going to be like the
Gray.
hardy board, is it?
Excuse me, ma'am? No, ma'am. It's a cedar shingle.
Cedar shingle.
A dip cedar
a
shingles.
dip.
You came before us, and got approved for that, right?
We were approved for AZEK trim and this cedar shingle.
Right.
I'm only here seeking approval for the new decking as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Full deck right there.
Right. Yes.
The one in the back.
Yeah, that's. Yeah. Yep.
No question.
I'm good with
Questions?
that.
No?
You good? Any comments from the?
What's anybody?
Is there a drawing of the deck?
We're not expanding upon the decks whatsoever, maintaining the exact same size.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Just replacing the materials.
Yes, ma'am.
Questions? Questions or comments from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-199 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time. Have a nice evening.
You're welcome. 24-200, an addition at 34 Salt Marsh Road. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm here representing Sebastian, he's the owner. I have a small architectural practice here. You've seen me probably before.
And your name is?
Morel Ortega. And so we're designing this house. He acquired the house in September. The house is it's a 900 square foot cottage that was built in 1963. It sits in $1 million lot, but it's a very not well maintained cottage. So we're trying to make justice to the cottage to actually bring it to match the lot. there are certain constraints specific to this project. That is, if we build more than 300 square feet or a third of the value of the actual cottage, we'll basically have to tear it down and build it new. So that's why the challenges were how to be respectful and how to create something that is walkable, but at the same time, there's structural concerns and concerns. So we tried to make the best that we could at this pass. And if you look at like, for example, that elevation, the street elevation, the one, like if you go to the next one, that one, if you look, it's almost like a bite was taken out of the facade of a house. So we intend that in the future, that bite will be brought back when we're allowed to build another 200 square feet, probably in a couple of years. So it will end up looking more of a traditional. Right now, if you see, it's like missing. But I think it's a handsome work compared with what is there right now.
Sure.
Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah,
Questions or comments?
I think
I
it
have
looks
none.
great.
nice to see it preserved.
Yes.
Questions or comments from the
absolutely.
public?
Make a motion to approve 24-200 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that's
All right, now.
Continued certificate of appropriate. Next item, 24-152. New addition at 202 Route 6A.
All right. Good evening, Steve Cook from Couture Bay Design, representing Catherine and Roger Bumstead. An addition on the rear of the existing house. Yeah, everything's, all exterior details going to match existing. See a shingle, white trim, asphalt roof to match. Just dropped off for a revised hard copy on the site plan also. The new additions highlighted in yellow on that plan.
Sorry.
Good to you. All right. What is the revision?
Yellow.
I only had a PDF copy. I was asked to bring a hard copy. That was the only thing.
Mary, could you turn back to the picture, please? Thank you.
So none of this will be visible from 6A, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, not visible from the street.
Any other comments? Comments or questions from the public?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-152 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Next item, 24-175E. Demolition and removal at 179 Main Street.
Hello, Anne.
I sat out with, I was a little surprised about the last site visit with the expert. I could not be there because I was out of state, so the owner was there. It's my understanding that nobody would go inside, and that wasn't the case. He demanded to go inside. The owner was there, she didn't know what to do, she didn't want to extend this any longer, and it got to be a very uncomfortable situation.
Oh, gosh.
I'm not happy about that, because obviously I thought it was going to be very simple like the last one, first one we did.
Right.
That's very unfortunate, but all she had to do was say no. Fred could have left and come back another time.
And then we may have to delay another 2 weeks. I mean, it's
Yes,
becoming
that's
a
very true, but that was the option.
Right, but she's trying not to do that because it's a financial burden. It's been dragged out long enough.
Well, what is the prejudice to what happened?
It was to our understanding that no one goes inside.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just asking you, what is the prejudice from what happened?
I don't understand
What do
your
you mean?
question.
Okay. The question is, I'll phrase it differently. Okay, it happened. Was anything harmed? Is anybody harmed?
I was fine. I let them in, but what I really didn't appreciate was if you had just let us know ahead of time, it would have been fine.
Mm.
It was just that
Surprise, you weren't
it was a
expecting.
surprise. And when somebody says, well, if I can't go in, I can't do my job, it's a tough statement. It wasn't what I was expected. It
May I
wasn't
ask
what was
who was there? Who was present?
So myself, the preservationist, his coworker, and Miriam was there. And, you know, I said, oh, were they, because it was in writing. It was a site visit for the outside.
Mm-hmm.
It just took me by surprise, and I understand that that might be, you know, not off-putting to other people, but this has been a pretty tough situation for us. And it just, we were happy to do it. We were happy to have the on-site. We were happy to have them come back.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little bit more communication would have just been appreciated. And the attitude of, if I don't get to do this, then put out, was just, I just would have liked a little bit of communication. We respect you guys and what you were doing enough to keep this happening, and it felt like it wasn't in return. And that is just, I don't think that that's the way that you intended it. I don't think that's the way that it was intended, but it just wasn't, this is a tough situation anyways, and it just wasn't
Didn't make it any easier.
It didn't make it any easier.
No.
And I did it, and it was, but it was also just surprising. When
Yeah.
something
I'd
happens.
like to get to the merits of it. This is not relevant to us.
Well, I'm wondering, did Mr. Ecker explain why he needed to see the inside? Because we've been concerned only with the outside
Said
appearance.
that he couldn't do his job unless he saw the inside.
I can confirm that comments were made like that, and the way he just made it seem like the whole site visit, the whole point was to go inside, and so I was unsure what to do also.
Well, there's some confusion here. When we do a site visit, essentially our concern is the outside of the building.
Mhm.
When we have the preservation expert come, his job is to see if the building is actually in good condition or if in fact it needs to be demolished. The only way he can accomplish that is by going inside the building. A way he can date the structure, he can look at the foundations, he can check it for rot or sagging or just general conditions, which is what he did, and we have a report that he made, and you're welcome to a copy of the
I
report.
read it.
So it just sounds like our standard communication for a visit of this nature needs to be updated to include the internal and exterior pieces of the home, and the homeowner should be notified.
That's all.
It's-
That's all I'm asking.
It seems that perhaps the reason for wanting to go inside was not clearly
Yeah.
articulated.
Because I went because Anne wasn't able to make it, and so if that wasn't communicated that they needed to go inside, then, you know, Anne doesn't have keys to my
That's
home.
unfortunate.
There's just some communication. I know that this may not seem like a big deal, but it's communication, and that's all. That's all we're asking.
Okay.
That's fair.
So we know what this is about. We had a meeting on the site. We have Craig Ecker's report, who says that the L is actually older than the house.
The furthest part of it, what was the shed? Yeah, that's how I understand
He says
it.
that was a shed. The house was built, and the space in between was filled in
filled in,
afterwards.
yes.
Two different periods.
Right.
He says it's in good foundation, it's in sound condition. The main house is in sound condition. He thinks it's of historical significance, and he feels it should be saved or incorporated into the addition.
I believe that the owner is willing to salvage and repurpose some of those materials, for example, the granite foundation. Am I correct?
Yes.
Well, the other thing is that the house is sound condition and it does not need to be raised, and the foundation is in good condition and it does not need to be disturbed. And problem on the Liberty Street side of the house could be corrected by regrading.
If you look around, even especially in the wing, there's granite block, there's cinder block, there's bricks, there's all kinds of repair done to that thing. What we're trying to do is make this thing be here 200 years from now. We've done it on Spring Hill Road, it came out beautiful. It's gonna make the house last longer. To me, the most important thing of a house is getting a proper foundation underneath it. I think it's worth the expense. And let's remember, of that side shed there, 15 feet of it is a shed. I mean, it's basically just a basement. You walk down the stairs and they had the laundry there, and then the other 17, so we're looking at 17 by 13 of livable space. The deck obviously is modern.
And inappropriate.
Definitely inappropriate. So I think for what we're asking, it's going to improve the property a great deal. We can bring it up to very nice condition and make it last 200 more years.
So if we just took away the deck, for example, there would be a variety of foundation materials exposed. Am I correct?
Some granite block there, and then
Right.
the shed, it's some's good, some cinder
Right.
block, some brick.
It's actually two buildings.
Yes.
Right.
But which have been cobbled together over the
Right.
years.
It basically still that, the 15 feet to the right, it's still like a shed, basically
Right.
inside.
I think back in 1880 or whenever they did that, they still called it remodeling rather than cobbling together. They,
Well, I went to look at it again today, and I looked specifically at those three windows. No two are alike. On the L I'm talking about now. Look, there's no two alike. The trim is different. The positioning is different, and I think the kindest thing I can say about that is that this is a fine example of how people added on to their homes back in the 1880s as their needs changed and their families grew and they had the money to do what they wanted to do, but with very little regard for the aesthetics or the how it complemented the original house. There's nothing in this L which ties it visually or aesthetically to the main house. And if we were to preserve it, what? I mean, for what purpose? It's not suiting the owner's needs, clearly, as it is. And if the owner is not able to make it suit her needs and those of her family, you want to bring your parents in, I understand, then what's the point of staying there and saving the house?
I think that's because that's our job. Well, I
But
think
the people
historic
across-
preservation.
Yes, but we're preserving a building that's in disrepair. There's vegetation growing out of the gutters at the front. There are some magnificent homes and properties across the street which have to look at this. And I can't imagine that people stroll down our beautiful Main Street and think, oh, what a fine example of a historic building. I just don't see it. And I understand that it's our job to preserve old materials and the way people used to do things in those days, but it has no visual appeal to me at all.
well, actually, our job is not to improve how things look. Our jobs are try to remain close to the period. The depending on what you decided to do, that L is eminently salvageable. You could rearrange the windows, you could, all sorts of options without tearing it down. You could, if you needed more width, you could probably build out behind it.
No.
I mean, these choices are not for us to get into. We need to do is, the application is to demolish the L because it's in such bad condition. And we have a report from a preservationist who says that it is not.
I don't think they're arguing that it's in bad condition, just that it's inappropriate for today's needs. We have a young family here who owns this property. They're willing to invest, I have no idea how much money, a lot of money.
Diane, those things are beyond us.
Yes, yeah, but they, but we're...
They could sell it tomorrow.
Someone who knows they can't do anything with it.
Oh, no, these houses are bought and sold all the time.
I think we've been preaching...
Premium price.
We're not talking about demolishing the main house. This is
No,
an
and
addition.
I think we've been talking about demolition by neglect for years with all of the committee members. And I think Rich was on the committee for quite a while, and he's, he is in tune to all of this. Rich Clater, who's in the audience. We've been talking about this at every meeting for years. Yes. Demolition by neglect. Now here is a young homeowner who doesn't want to demolish the home or just let it go to the point of it falls down.
Right,
for sure.
She wants to jack up the house, the original home, put a foundation under it. So it'll be there 200 years from now and make this look like a nice property.
Motion is, should we or should we not allow them to demolish the L?
Okay, I'm getting to that, Peter.
Okay.
I'll try and be brief. Now, what we've done in the past, and I think Richard can confirm this, we've asked in this type of situation that the homeowner try to reuse everything they can into the construction of the new part that they're going to put up. Is that agreeable?
Yes, like for example, the granite block, it's in the foundation. They will take it and use it, retain
Are there any boards or beams or anything that could be used?
They definitely want to use anything that's salvageable. It's not rotten away.
That's what we've asked in the past.
But that's when the building is not salvageable. Now you have a building that is intact, can be repurposed, be fixed.
But this
Or
is
it could be left to rot.
So this is what we've been asking people to, this is an applicant that's coming before us doing what we've been asking people to do for years. It's not neglect it till it falls down, right? So if she just leaves it until it falls down, then she can do her project.
Whatever wants.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. This is what we've been screaming at people not to neglect their property.
If you read the letter from Fred,
I read it.
The building is structurally sound. It's not in any danger of falling down.
So she has to keep the shed? She has to keep her shed?
5 or 10 years from now. I didn't say she had to keep the shed.
I think we're forgetting that this is someone's home.
Yes.
Not a museum.
Right.
Someone's home. We're keeping the majority
Ann,
of the house.
Ann, excuse me. We sit here twice a month, year-round. We are acutely aware about these are people's homes. So don't give us that lecture.
It doesn't suit the current owner's needs, and it's an addition.
But that's not our
She
problem.
wishes to replace with a more suitable addition, and I would argue a far more aesthetically pleasing addition, and complementary to the main house. I think I know we're just focused on the demolition part right now, but I think it's important to consider what their intention is and how much of an improvement the new addition will make. Not just to this house, but to the whole village.
Bill Collins asked me today, he couldn't be here because he's going to be out of state, but Bill sat on this committee for years with Rich, and he was the chair for many years. He lives on Liberty Street, and he's the one that always did all the research and went to the archives and did all this stuff. And he wanted me to make a statement on his behalf tonight, that he researched this house several years ago as well, and that he is in complete agreement with what the applicant wants to do. And he just wanted me to state that. And he's in the historic home himself right down the street. That's what he asked me to do tonight, because he couldn't be here in person.
Yeah. And I looked at the demolition procedures, and I'm drawn to this phrase that owners are encouraged to seek alternative options that will preserve, rehabilitate, or restore such buildings by preserving and protecting historical significant buildings. That's what the owner is wanting to do. She wants to rehabilitate, restore, and preserve the existing home and extend it to suit her family's needs.
Diane, you keep doing that, and I got to say that the family's needs are not relevant to us, because that's their position today, but they can sell the property tomorrow. So we can't consider that, or we'd have everybody coming in and saying, this is my family's needs. We have to look at the building and say, in my opinion, we have to look at the building and say, should this building be saved, or is it beyond repair? And it's not beyond repair, so it should be saved. But it seems like Corin has got the deciding vote here. So it's like we should poll ourselves, or just, Corin, tell us what you think, because it's 2-2.
I tend to agree with Rich and Diane that the main building should be saved and preserved. I understand that the foundation seems to be sound, but the proposal will preserve it for a longer period of time, which to me is more important than preserving the smaller piece that I understand is still old and significant to the time period, but I would like to see us find a way to allow progress with preservation and make this consideration.
My problem with this is simple. If we approve this, how could we ever disapprove someone else coming in and saying, I want to knock down my 1832 building? We have no credibility.
Everything is individual. Everything is seen as an individual.
Yes, it is.
We don't group anything together.
And we're not demolishing the home. We're asking to remove 2 additions which were pieced together.
One of which is a shed.
Yes.
I don't think we're doing our job personally, but maybe we should hear from the public.
We have a
Yes.
comment from the public.
Any comments from the public? Is that on, Miriam?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Rich Claytor, Chair of the Historical Commission. We sent you a letter after our meeting last month, and
Thank you.
said essentially if the expert found nothing of historical significance, we would defer to you on this. I think one thing you may not have noticed in the letter, or maybe you're not focusing on it, from Fred Ecker is this one section of the L, not the whole thing, looks like it's 18th century, 1700s, hand-hewn, hand construction. It apparently is sound. Historic preservation really requires you to acknowledge that in your findings. The Historical Commission has not had a chance to meet to discuss these findings. We would like to have the opportunity to do that. Our meeting is next Wednesday. You don't have to grant an extension for that, but we would like to have that opportunity. So, speaking on behalf of the Commission, we would request that you allow us the opportunity to look at this historical significance and maybe weigh in. And maybe it's more important than the house that was built in 1857. Maybe it's 1700.
So he's saying the part that is currently a shed it predates the house.
That's what he said in his letter.
I read that.
That's what he said in his letter. That's what I take from it. I think it's pretty important. In this committee, if you act on demolishing something from the 18th century that's structurally sound, I agree with your vice chair. I'm not sure what's worth protecting.
That, but it's also it's been altered already.
I understand. I understand.
It's been altered already. We're asking. The homeowner is asking that she makes another alteration.
I'm here on behalf of the commission. I'm not here to debate your job. I know what your job is, and so do you.
Rich, you agreed with the vice chairman.
Higher.
Who was that?
Oh, I thought that was you.
No, I'm not.
Former vice chair?
You just agreed with Rich.
Okay.
Thank you, Rich. I'm the assistant vice chair.
I agree with the assistant vice chair. I think it is your job to evaluate and to collect the facts, and you make your decisions, obviously.
I would have no problem with the idea of giving the historical commission
I'll defer.
to do a deep dive and to come back on December 9th. Is that all right, Rich, December 9th?
No.
I think we've had plenty of opportunity for these discussions already.
Sorry, what was your question?
Would you be prepared to come back on December 9th?
Oh, yeah. We're meeting on the 4th.
Good. Okay.
Anne.
So,
Anne, yes.
When we had the first on-site, he was meeting the following week.
Right.
That was
November 5th.
weeks ago. Now we're going to go again. Plus, also, the letter mentions that the wing was 1880, and the house was 1857, so the wing did not predate the house.
I think I could clarify that fact if you'd like. I know a little something about how things go. I suspect that original structure is an 18th century structure. They built a house separately, and then they added on to, and they connected the dots in about 1880. It's not that unusual.
The town says there's 1857.
Oh, no, we did the research on the house. The Historical Commission does that. 1857 is the date on the house. That structure there, according to Fred, predates 1857. It predates the 19th century. Predates the original house. I talked to him on the phone about this at some length.
Right here, it says the center portion of the L that connects to the main house was constructed in 1880.
Read the line before that.
And I believe 1880 is when the area between the shed and the house was added.
Yeah.
Shed
They
was there,
redid the roof line.
Yeah.
You can tell by the front windows, they don't line up. You're commenting on that. The window to the right of that first period construction on this lot is a lot older than anything else. It'd be nice to understand what that is. Why it can't be incorporated in an addition. Why you can't use your creative juices to make the homeowner happy and preserve history in this. Over and over, we're losing them, one after another. Ann's reference to the Spring Hill house, they chopped the addition off of that one that was a little after the original structure. It's gone. There's no reference to that. We take them down one after the other. The excuse is usually because they're neglected and they're not worth preserving. Now we have something that apparently is worth preserving. We deferred to you guys because we think it's your job to do this if there isn't something historically significant. If something's built in the 18th century and we don't even know what it is, we shouldn't probably tear it down until we know a little more about it.
Right. Yeah, and I believe that we're proposing that many of the components of this original building can be repurposed.
Doesn't help us.
No, we're not proposing none of that.
No, the proposal is to
Only
demo
part
it.
of the proposal, which is not in our motion before us, is to reuse the granite slab, take them off the house and use them for retaining wall. Actually, there's no reason in the world why they couldn't be reused on the house, which would be more appropriate.
But, Mr. Chair, the request from the Historical Commission, I think we've always recognized when they've asked us to do a further in-depth analysis of the position, and I think we should listen to them. So I would like to see this put over to our next meeting, so that
I think we already know, how the commission feels.
Yeah, I think.
I mean,
Yes.
I think that's beating a dead
I think it's
horse.
a financial burden for the owners to keep.
I mean, we keep dragging this around. Can the shed be rebuilt on the property? Can the shed be moved so it stays safe?
No room on the property. This is the only place we can add on.
Right.
We're right up to the nines between the septic system, and we're pushed up against the back setback.
And
That's the whole point, is that's the only place we can add on. And that's very typical of the old days. You would add on as your family grows.
right.
You know, they want their parents to live with them. We got to make some space. We're keeping the main portion of the main house. This is just a small portion of it.
And the shed, we're calling it the shed, this oldest part of the whole property. What is its purpose if we're preserving it just because it's old? I mean, preserving it for what?
Yeah, just because it's old. That's what we do.
Because it's old.
Right, but, you know, like Rich said, I could work around it. Yeah, I could work around it. I could put a whole new foundation in front, go around down the side, build up new walls, and then you end up taking down the old walls anyway. So what is really left? At what expense to the owner? I think it makes more sense to put a lot of money into the main house, to preserve the main house so that it will be here forever. It makes no sense to try to maintain this small wing. I mean, basically, you come out of the kitchen in that area and you walk downstairs and you're in a basement. It is a shed. I mean,
Not from the outside.
to be, you know? I think we've kept the majority of the house, we've done the best we can for the design, and I think it will be an architectural improvement in the area. I think, Diane, you hit the nail on the head when you said, will a tourist miss that portion of the house? I don't think so. They'll say, what a beautiful house, when they walk by it.
Right now, a tourist is going to notice how much work is needed on that house, and I feel we should encourage anyone who has, first of all, the stomach to approach a project of that magnitude, and also the financial commitment that it's going to require. If these owners can't do what they want to do, then perhaps they won't do anything, and the house will fall into further disrepair.
Diane,
and we'll-
the financial condition is not within our area of concern.
Well, insofar as it affects the overall
Diane,
quality of the town,
Diane, read the bullet.
I did.
And none of these things are within our purview. Our only issues are the appearance of the building from the outside. We're not even into it as deeply as the Historic Commission, although they would like us to be. It's strictly about the appearance from the outside. And the contention here, when this was presented, was that this building was not structurally sound, which is simply untrue.
Okay.
Well, I don't think the appearance from the outside is a great look. You know, I don't think that's a great look from the outside when you walk down
I
Main
agree
Street.
that it isn't. I'm not saying that, but if you want to tear it down, put a good reason in the application other than that it's not structurally sound, because it is structurally sound.
And whether we particularly like the appearance or not is very subjective, and it's really not within our jurisdiction.
Well,
It's whether or not, this is a very simple issue. Whether or not this particular part of the building should be saved, should be demolished. I'm for saving. That's it. Because I think that's my job.
So they'll just let it go until it falls down, and then they can do what they want.
If they want to
Demolition by
self-inflict,
neglect is what we've been
Rich.
preaching. We've been
Let me
preaching
finish.
demolition by neglect for years.
You're interrupting me interrupting you. It's a simple issue. if they want to go and do things that are totally uneconomic to allow the building to go into repair, disrepair, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, there are other ways of dealing with that. That's not our concern. Our concern is whether or not this should be knocked down.
That's it. I don't know if there's any other comments here, but you can ask if anyone else has comments or whatever.
Any other comments from the public? Any comments or questions from the committee?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-175D as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Say opposed.
3 in favor.
Opposed.
I abstain.
3-1-1.
3-1-1.
So that passes. Next motion.
Thank you.
Rebuild at 174 Main Street.
179.
17.
I think frequently we've said that when we approve demolition, we want a replica.
Right.
Is there a replica?
No.
There is some replication in the dormer style to the original house.
No.
No?
No. That's a big shed dormer. Would you like me to list the things I don't like? I don't like the fact that the addition is so big in comparison to the original house. I don't like the bay window moved to the other side. I don't like the idea that there are 2 front doors from the street.
There's 2 front doors now to the street.
Pardon me?
There's 2 front doors presently to the street. And the main house is deeper than the addition.
Oh, I know.
So it's bigger square footage-wise that way. It's just the roof line just turned. There's multiple roof lines on the original. You have.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
Yes, there are.
Right. We simplified it, and we just have the one wing, one major roof line with dormers.
I do agree with Pete that moving the bay window, while I think is more aesthetic, is not historic, and would prefer to not see that happen.
I like the fact that the roof on the bay window ties in with the 4-foot bump out at the rear of the property. So my eye went from that. So the roof levels are the same. If you take away that bay window, the proposed bay window, it just makes the bump out look a little odd. I think it has a more cohesive look with the bay window, and it looks historically appropriate to me. But that's my opinion.
I don't know about the bay window adding to that side of Liberty Street. I kind of like the main house, stay the main house from that side, because that's the Liberty Street side. That's the side you see going east down Main Street. If the I just think it shouldn't be, that side, the house, main house, shouldn't be changed. I agree with the demo on the that wing, the shed, whatever you want to call it. I know we've been going around and around that, so I don't want to bring that up again. I don't think we should change the main part of the house like Pete had mentioned. I'd like to see it, I just don't want to change that main house from what has been there since 167 years.
Yeah.
The applicant agrees to that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Comments or questions?
Oh, yes, sorry, I had one more question. Is that front entrance original, would you say?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah, okay.
Or it may have been added, but it's pretty old.
Yeah. it just looked a little more modern than
It's
1865.
actually plainer than most. Would have a little more detail to it today.
Yeah.
And the glass looks pretty old.
Okay.
In the side lights.
That's kind of Greek revival, which was not uncommon then. The other thing about these houses is they evolve over time. There's really no such thing as architectural purity. I think our job is to try to keep it within reason. I personally would prefer that you left the granite on the foundation because that definitely goes to the time when it was built. If you put a concrete foundation, you can put a shelf in it and put the granite back on.
You can see it.
You willing to do that?
Granite, though, would not cover the entire addition.
Actually, the back corner, all that, a good part of that side is brick right now.
That's
So
fine.
that's why we go with the brick veneer on the foundation.
Right now, you have granite on the original house.
There's brick on that side right there, if you look at that picture at the bottom.
Well, no, the granite comes around the corner from the front door.
But then it turns into brick at some point.
Oh, I don't doubt
And
it.
all around the back is brick until you hit the cinder block.
I don't doubt that. I'm not asking you to buy more granite. I'm just asking you to use the granite that's there.
I can't use the granite as a veneer. They'd have to slice it. I mean, I'm trying to get a full foundation under this thing. You know, so you can't just put the granite against the concrete.
I don't even understand why you're redoing the foundation under the house. You could regrade and solve your drainage problem. You have a fieldstone foundation that's been there for, 175 years, and it's in good shape.
Because when you get the house up out of the ground, for one thing, it's very low.
I just answered that. You don't need to do that. You can grade the Liberty Street side and your problem is solved.
Well, you want to start with a good, solid foundation. And basically, that's what the homeowners want to do at a very great expense to them. And I think because there's so much brick on there now, I think brick veneer will be appropriate. Whether we'll use the granite on as a retaining wall at the front because everything's falling apart across the sidewalk.
The existing structure can perhaps be thoroughly documented with photographs for the historical archives so that we're not losing it altogether. But I like the idea of repurposing the granite.
That we can do. We actually need it.
Any questions or comments from the public? Any more questions or comments from the committee?
I'll make a motion to approve 24-176RB as amended to not have a bay window on the Liberty Street side of the house and to repurpose the granite. Is there anything else I'm missing?
No.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Right. Extension request for approved certificate number 23-203, solar panels on Route 6A. I guess the original approved certificate is expiring. Do I hear a motion to extend?
I'll make a motion to extend 23-203 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item, committee discussion. We're going to discuss?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let me try to do this in a way that isn't too confusing. Had this all lined up, and I was moving my papers around. Okay, I'm missing one thing here. We'll find
it one of
Okay,
these?
I got it now. Okay. I got to do these in order, so stay with me. First thing to look at, it's three of them. The first thing to look at is the version of the demolition by neglect and design. The comments, this one. There's three of them. You got three of them. This is the one that the Historic Commission looked at and made a few suggestions for change. Okay. When they sent this to me, I said, that's fine. Well, actually, I changed their changes. You know, I said, that which I can accept, I have. You wanted to rewrite the statute. I didn't think that was a good idea at all. So this was the compromise. They approved this. I said, by the way, if there were problems, I might have to abandon these changes, which was, interestingly, I think accurate on my part. The second one is the one with all the comments on the side. Okay, this is the building commissioner coming, we sent these very minor changes to him and through Leanne and asked if he would approve them. So he came back and basically gutted the whole thing, taking himself out of being obligated under this. And that to me was unacceptable. He had already accepted everything but these minor changes. Now he wants to change going back, and just, you know, agree to one thing, why redo it? So what I'm suggesting is we go back to the one, I asked Leanne, give me the version that the building commissioner has already approved.
And we'll use that.
And let's go back to that. And approve that so that at least we have something that we have agreed to and the building commissioner has agreed to. If he wants thereafter to say, I no longer agree, that's one thing, but it's getting silly. We should get this over with. I'm fascinated by the way this thing copied because
Me too.
page 2 was upside down and I'm going, oh, wow, this is exciting. But assuming that, and I think you give me a second, this is really hard to read. Yeah, we didn't, he approved it when it had the 1940, so we tried to switch to 75 years. Let's accept it at 1940 and go on with our lives. At least we have an agreement in place, then we can argue about what it means. But this back and forth with people making changes all over the place.
Yep.
Unwieldy. And to me, unacceptable.
Well, didn't the Historic Commission prefer that we say 70 years so that this can be a living document?
My suggestion is that we tonight accept what the building commissioner has already accepted.
Okay.
And then, trust me, come back and say, I think we should change it. But when the building commissioner came back and made wholesale changes, that to me was just,
Unacceptable.
you know, I've been doing this for 2.5 years, and I'd really like to have something in place during my lifetime. And you know, I'm dealing, you know, how do I say this nicely? I'm dealing with someone who's not being very helpful to the process. So I just want to get it over with for now, and then we can make changes in the future. We can maybe get a better program. A lot of people like the idea of going 75 years. The building commissioner specifically did not like the idea. So let's just go along with what let's just go along with what he agreed to,
Works for me.
and then we can spend the rest of our lives arguing about it.
Okay, fine.
Is that fair?
Yep.
Make a motion to accept the version of the procedure for demolition of by design and neglect as previously approved by the building commissioner.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Thank you.
All right.
thanks, Mike.
Yes, thank you for all your work on that, Mike.
Only a few years of my life. What's next?
I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
You want to adjourn? You got to do this other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you do. You got to do the 2 interviews. You got to.
Oh, yeah?
You got to. I'm here.
Beg your pardon?
I want to be interviewed.
We don't need to interview you.
Oh, good, really?
We have another
Okay.
applicant as well.
Okay, go over
Yes,
there.
okay, an interview with Mike Sullivan to run for an alternate position.
Hi.
Would you like to sit over there?
Sure.
Do I get to begin the grilling because I'm the most recent alternate?
Motion to approve him? We need a motion on this?
I believe we do, yeah.
Clerk,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to select Mike Sullivan as an alternate to the selectmen.
Do you want to ask me?
No, I don't want to ask him anything.
Come on, ask me something hard. Okay, I've
Do I
been
have
here
a
a while.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
you,
you very
Mike.
much.
Thank you.
Next, an interview with Chase Freeman to be appointed as an alternate member. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Mr. Freeman. Tell us about yourself, if you would, why you're interested in the job and...
Sure. Yeah. My name's Chase Freeman. I live at 5 Holder Lane in Quaker Hills. My wife grew up in Sandwich. I'm from Dallas, Texas, north of Dallas, really. My primary drive for wanting to join the committee is to give back to the community, get more involved with Sandwich. We lived here for almost 2 years, on the Cape for a little longer. Like I said, my wife grew up here. We've been together for a long time, and so I've been coming to Sandwich for a very long time. And I love it here. I think my personal drive for appreciating history and appreciating the history of the Cape and Sandwich is that where I grew up, everything's brand new. Everything's very shiny. Anything old is torn down and replaced. And it's why I never wanted to move back to town, to be frank. So I love it here. I love the history. I really value the cultural, historic significance of everything. If you ask my wife and her family, who's also lived here for quite some time, I'm the history buff in the family, not them. So they always come to me for the facts. Just my nature. But again, I just want to give back to the community and get involved.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say I commend you for volunteering your time. I know you work and you have a very young family, and I really appreciate your willingness to join the committee.
Yes, I have a 12-week-old daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And we have to argue about who is the senior alternate.
We don't have to argue.
We'll settle that outside.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Chase Freeman as an alternate, in the alternate position and be sent to the selectmen.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chase.
So what do I do? Just show up to the meetings?
Reminder that the election is tomorrow, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., town clerk's office.
Thank you.
Jason, about what he does next. I think it.
Your
This
name will be submitted to the selectmen.
select board. Yes.
You will approve it, and then you'll get a letter saying you've been approved as an alternate.
Yep.
And you will have to go to the town clerk's office and take an oath.
Okay.
And be sworn
And
in.
you'll receive a copy of the bulletin,
Fantastic.
which we all work from. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Chase.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the draft minutes for October 28th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the draft minutes for November 5th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn at 7:52.
Oh, yes. Did we mention the election tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Pete read the notice.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Feel free to go vote for me.